Alright, I gave him a license and he does this. Alright, could you come to the station with me? Hello everyone, it is me, LightFeather. Today I'll be telling you a story on how I got pulled over by a police officer twice. I got the idea to make this video when I was watching the video by Rita Thinks Pink, where she told us all about car full, ik haat dit! Okay, my car was full, maybe I should empty it sometime. So okay, yeah, Rita Thinks Pink talked about how she almost got arrested, and now I wanted to tell you all about how I got pulled over a couple of times. It doesn't sound that interesting, because, you know, arresting versus pulling over, but I think it's actually a pretty interesting story. Okay, so the first time I was driving my moped, because I need to be clear, I don't have a car or a driver's license, but I do have a license to ride a moped, which you need when you live in the Netherlands. So I was riding the moped and my little sister was sitting on the back. And we were riding, and then suddenly we came at like this crossing part, and there were cops, and he was like, could you stop for a second? And I was like, honey! So I said, sure! So I stopped, like really, okay, rules, check for before you stop, okay, there, stop. And he was like, okay, yeah, so, how old is she? She met it, no, but, no, never mind. Well, I have to, how old is she? 10. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, yeah. Why? Oh, because you need to be 9 in order to ride a moped on the back. Yeah, oh yeah, I know that. Because in the Netherlands you need to be at least 9 years old before you can ride the back of a moped. So he was like, yeah, I needed to be sure if she was tall enough to be on it safely, and so it's okay? Yeah. Cool. But now the second time, which is way more interesting. So this is actually a couple of weeks ago. And my mother asked me, could you take Dominique, that's my little sister again, to her party? She had like this birthday party from someone at this indoor skiing or snowboarding thing, whatever. So I said, yeah, sure, because I'm the only one, none of us has a driver's license, and I'm the only one who has a moped license, so I'm the only one authorized to ride a motorized vehicle. So I said, sure. So I took her on the back of the moped, and it started raining, like a lot. Pretty, like, it always rains in the Netherlands, but this was incredible. I was like, oh no. But yeah, I had gloves, but it was kind of cold. It was incredibly cold. There was wind and there was rain. So I was riding like, because I almost couldn't see because everything was raining into my face. And we came and stopped at a bridge. So the bridge was opened or closed or whatever. Basically when it was up and boats were passing, but the people on the actual road can't pass. So we had to wait for that. Well, sort of waiting, but anyway, we had to wait, it took longer. So after we could finally cross the bridge, we continued to ride. And there was still rain, a lot of rain, it was pretty cold, and anyway, we drove into the street where the actual birthday party thing was. And I noticed some guy behind me on like a motorcycle who was really like tailgating, that's a word, right? Me. So he was basically like really up close, so I was, what's that guy doing? But I couldn't really see who it was. So I took a turn, and then suddenly that guy came riding beside me like this. And it was a police officer. And he was like, could you stop for a second? And I thought, no! What did I do? I've got my lights, I signaled. I always signal because I always obey every rule in traffic. Because if you don't signal, I think you're kind of like, not cool. So I said, yeah, sure. So I stopped and I was like, is there a problem? So he said, no, it's just a checkup, because when you're a young adult and you're riding a moped, you often get checked because they think you either have illegal modifications to your moped or you're just riding a moped without a license, because you do need the license. So I was like, no, sure, and he said, just give me a license. So alright, I gave him a license and he does this. Alright, could you come to the station with me? What? What did I do? So I said, yeah, sure, but can I first drop my little sister off at her party? And he said, where is the party? And I said, here, because we were actually stopped right in front of it. So he said, yeah, sure. So I got off and locked the moped and took her off, and I walked her inside because I said to the officer, I do want to make sure she's safely inside. So he said, yeah, that's of course, that's logical. So I took her inside, but everyone, including the people who actually gave the birthday party, weren't there. So she was the first one, and I thought, no, because normally I wouldn't leave her with strangers who like run this indoor skiing thing. But I had to, because I had to follow the police officer to the station. So I thought, oh shit, okay, you stay here, I'll go with the officer. So I needed to walk back, and by the way, it was still raining like like heck. So I drove all the way to the station with that guy, and it was still raining, and it was actually quite far away. So I came to that station, and outside there were like 5 police officers all looking at me like, and I thought, oh, this is kind of creepy. So there was one of these machines, and they're used to, you put the rear tire of a moped in there, and then you hit the gas on the moped, and then it measures the speed at the maximum speed the moped can go, just to see if it isn't illegally modified to go faster than it actually can. But mine isn't, so I wasn't really scared of anything, because like I said, I always obey the rules of traffic. So they were like putting it in, and they saw like this number increasing to a legal number. And I was like, okay, yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. And one of these officers was like, and this lady officer was like, and I thought, why are you so happy about that? But later on I figured out that pretty much everybody has an illegal modification, so they were happy that they finally had someone that actually listened to the rules. So I got my license back, and this number, this like receipt that says I've been checked and stuff. So I left and I drove back to the skiing center because I was afraid, like, are the other people there for my little sister? By the way, it was still super raining. So I got there, and luckily all the other persons were there, and I was like, okay. But by the way, my eyes started to sting because I used like hairspray and wax and stuff for my quiff, and it drained all into my eyes, so that stung. And I drove back home. I was like, oh, finally. And then I crossed that bridge again, and it was open, or closed, or whatever you want to call it, again. And I had to wait, again. So when I finally came home, I was super cold, and I was like stressed out, and I told my mom, I'm gonna have an interesting story for you. And I told her this story I told you right now. So yeah, that's basically the story of how I got pulled over twice. Never did I actually receive a ticket, because like I say, I always listen to the rules. Tell me, did you ever get pulled over, and for what reason? And because I'm kinda interested in that, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you're new here, I would love to have you subscribe to this channel. On Saturday, I post like stories or getting to know each other a little bit better videos like this, and on Wednesday I post sketches and sometimes cinematics. All of that to let people know that it's awesome and okay to be yourself and to be unique, and that you shouldn't change yourself for others, because being weird and cool is just cool. So like I always say, thank you so much for watching. Just be unique, you're awesome the way you are.